It's not morning. It is well into the afternoon.
Yes,
Hey,
it
good
is.
people.
What's up? What's up?
This is all in front of the IG people. So we are testing this out to make sure was we're using some new technology and want to make sure that you all can hear and see us okay, because we don't want to be in here thinking that y'all are hearing us and you're not. So with that being said, yeah, that sounds better than the other one. Okay, so behind the scenes crazies not all day. I'm not gonna say it was all day. It was just for the last 30 minutes. Kind of feels like all day.
But we're here now.
We're here now. We're here now. So what is up, everybody? Good people.
What's happening? What's happening? I'm O.L. Buckley.
And I am Sway Buckley.
And we are MarriedEntrepreneurLife.com. And this is where we help married entrepreneurs, those who want to get more clarity, generate more income, and above all of that,
they can't see your
leave a lasting impact.
It's like way out the screen.
And above all of that, leave a lasting impact.
Yes, marriedpreneurs come to us to sync high-level systems with laser clear strategy to live out their big God vision with clear structure, peaceably and profitably. And today we are here. We're going to be doing once a week as we have been doing all this year thus far. We're sharing with you different strategies for married entrepreneurs, specifically, uniquely for married entrepreneurs, and not just any married entrepreneurs, but kingdom-driven, faith-filled married entrepreneurs. We should also say that this is going to be a part 2 from last week. So we'll give you a quick update and then, like an overview, and then we will go into it. I'm shaking things around here. And with that being said, we want to make sure that you all have all the updates. We wanted to tell you a few things, a few housekeeping things. But before we do that, we do want to share with you about the different marriedpreneur types, because sometimes people think, well, are we really considered marriedpreneurs if we're not doing this, or if we're not both doing that, or if only one of us? So let's just break that down, okay? So there are 3 types of marriedpreneurs.
That's right, 3 types of married entrepreneurs. The first one is what we would call couplepreneurs. And couplepreneurs, this is where one of you is running the business and the other one may have a 9-to-5. Mm-hmm. Then we have the second type, what we call indiepreneurs.
You just pause.
Indiepreneurs is where both of you are running separate businesses. Yes. Then we have a third type, and the third type is what we call spousalpreneurs. And this is where both of you are running the same business together.
Yes, so you can be a combination of all of those or a couple of those. Probably not. You don't want to do like all of them at the same time. We've been actually all 3, spousal, indie, and couple. Not at the same time though, but today.
We've been all 3 at different points, but we've been two of the 3 at every point.
This is true. So today we are indie and couplepreneurs. And so I run a creative arts staffing firm and a consultancy for creative women, helping them build multiple revenue streams with their craft. That is what my company does.
Yes, and then I have a consultancy for helping organizations to boost their revenue, while also helping families to build out their real estate portfolio. I also co-own a realty company where we teach first-time home buyers to buy like investors.
And then together,
Marriedpreneur Life.
We operate Marriedpreneur Life. So there you have it, little couple and little indie and a whole lot of good stuff going on here. So with that being said, if you're an indiepreneur, let us know that. You can by putting the I in the comments. If you are a couplepreneur, let us know that by putting a C in the comments. If you are a spousalpreneur, put an S in the comments. Let us know that as well too. Okay, so with that being said, we like to know who's in the house, but I want to go over a few updates for everybody because there's a lot of good stuff going on. We don't want anybody to miss anything at all. Do you hear me? I'm looking over, just so you all know, on Facebook. I'm looking over to make sure that folks, they're saying hi on IG. Hey. And I don't want to overlook them. Okay, so we are going to be sharing some updates. So this week, the latest episode from the Married Life podcast, if you have not heard about it, you should definitely check that out on your favorite listening platform. This week specifically, though, we are focusing in on how to help your spouse launch their business. Or that may be you. You may be that spouse who is launching their business. So how to work together and doing that doesn't mean like you have to be doing the same exact business. We believe if one of you is called to entrepreneurship,
the whole family is called to entrepreneurship.
Exactly. So that episode 195, I think it is. It's called Launch Lives. Definitely check that one out. Launch Lives, and we share our personal stories of launching with very little, like on a shoestring budget. Actually, there was no shoestring. It was just launching. So we wanted to share all those insights with you all, especially if you are needing some courage and some confidence. You can borrow some of ours from our experiences and move you all along further along the way. Now, with that being said, also next week, for the first time ever, we are going to be walking marriedpreneurs, I would say more so emerging marriedpreneurs, those of you who are seeking to replace their 9-to-5 income with your marriedpreneur strategy, get a good strategy together. We're going to be walking you through that with a free
5-day challenge. That's what we're trying
It's
to say.
called 11 Launch Challenge. 11 Launch Challenge. What is that? They can't hear. So we are super excited about that. Let your friends know, tell your cousins and them, tell your aunties and your uncles, your mama and your daddy, all of them who are building businesses, who desire to, who've been talking about doing it for years, but who haven't done it, or they like kind of been dabbing in it. Hey, fam, Jessica, see you, girl. So go ahead and connect with us. It's totally free all week long. We'll be walking you through writing out, creating your strategy to get, it is going to be phenomenal, y'all. So you can go and get your virtual seats to this free 5-day challenge over at loveandlaunchsecrets.com. Okay. Next thing. Also, I've been talking to a lot of folks in the DMs and just trying to get to know different people and connect like on a real life level. And I realized this, a lot of folks are like, oh my goodness, we're missing a lot of the lives and whatnot. And I realize many folks are working during the day, of course. I get that, which is why we're helping them get to a place where they can replace their 9-to-5 income. But in the meantime, we're going to switch our time starting with second quarter next week to coming in on Tuesdays instead of at 1:30. Well, we were late today. We had some tech issues, but we'll be coming in at 5:30 EST. 5:30 EST. And if you missed that, you'll be able to catch it in our Facebook group. The replay's in there. That's where everything will be for a short time. And lastly, tomorrow, though, we will be coming in earlier at 1:30 as a bonus training, being that we're closing out quarter one. Can y'all believe that? Quarter one is like...
It's crazy the way this year is flying.
It's like gone. I mean, the year is not gone, but the quarter is. So we want to be good stewards of our time. We want to be good stewards and learn the lessons from quarter one and apply them to quarter two. So tomorrow we're going to come into our Facebook group, Marriage Plus Entrepreneurship. If you're not there, get there because it's going to be amazing. We're going to walk through a quarter two training for marriedpreneurs, not just the technical aspects of it, but the emotional aspects of it, what's going on, how to talk and walk through that together. So that's going to be good. Now, you do want to get your marriedpreneur checklist, the marriedpreneur 2021 checklist. I think that is at marriedpreneurlife.com. You can go to the website to get that, and we will put the link inside the Facebook group as well too, so you all can get that, because we're going to be going through that as your guide, and you can use that the whole entire year. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal download we created. It took hours to do that, so we're definitely going to be using all of that. Like it's all of it's going to be all what do you call it, at the end of the year? It's going to be all torn up and folded up and I mean, it's going to be used really well, written over, weather. There you go. Torn up in a good way, like wear and tear type thing. Okay, so woosah, let's go. Today.
All right, today, so we're talking about the 5 time blocks. These are must-have time blocks for married entrepreneurs, so you all can really have an effective and efficient day-to-day.
Day-to-day. Okay, we're going to do a quick recap because this is part 2. Okay, so we're not going to teach everything over again. If you missed part 1, that was last Tuesday. Definitely go and take a listen to that. But we'll give you the 5 time blocks. What we did last week was we went over what it looks like when you are doing them, so you'll be able to know. It's kind of like your own assessment or an audit. So if you are implementing these time blocks, then you will see these particular benefits. If you're not, you will see the exact opposite. So we want to make sure that you all can be like, just on the top level, oh, that's probably what's going on. I'm probably missing out on this because we don't have these time blocks in place. So just an overview, we have, and these are like daily time blocks. What we're going to do tomorrow when we come in, we're going to go over the quarterly and this ties into it, but it's a lot bigger than that. Okay, so we have, which one's the first one? We have the prep
time, then we have legacy meeting, then we have execution, then we have reflection, and then we have planning.
Yes, so we're just going to start today. This is part B or 2, and we're just going to share, as we promised last week, real life examples, like what this looks like. We feel like it's a lot easier to learn and apply things when you can have a real life example. So today we're just going to be going over real life examples on how we implement these 5 time blocks, running multiple businesses, definitely very involved in other aspects, and then making sure that we keep our marriage like barricaded from all the other things that can be and do, vie for our attention. That's a big one. So we wanted to share these with you.
Yeah, so the first time block is the prep time. And our prep time, I'll let Sway define hers and I'll define mine, but essentially this prep time, the way we do it is we prepare ourselves before we come together to meet.
Yes. So for me, for example, I have to know what I need personally each day, which is likely, I was going to say very different, but I would say just different from what my husband needs. And when I say that, I mean, so I'm not living and giving on empty, right? I only want to be giving from not even a full cup. I want to give from an overflow. So I need to be filled and full on clarity and energized and ready to go, because whatever I have already been taking in or whatever I am gleaning from throughout the morning time, that's where, that's what I'm going to be giving off. And so if I'm coming from a place of just brokenness and broke down throughout the morning, you better believe that's what's going to come across in content. That's what's going to come across in all the work that we do, and then all the work that I do. And so for me, I have to know what fills me up. So really just being in solitude, having that quiet time, being very clear, having time to think through what my biggest focus is going to be. That we're just talking about daily right now. Tomorrow we'll do the quarterly, but just really being clear on what winning looks like for me today, like actually visualizing that. During that time also, I'm going to have my quiet prayer time. I'm going to be journaling. I'm also I likely maybe listening to some different things as well. Definitely reading scriptures. I enjoy reading Proverbs each morning just to get some wisdom for the day, because Lord knows we can use some wisdom. So I personally do that. This is by myself for my prep time, but also in that I'm also going to be moving my body. So I'm going to make sure I move my body to the point of sweating. that's my measure, to make sure at least I'm getting my heart rate up and blood is flowing, feeling good, all that great sweat stuff. And so I'm doing that, and then I have a certain time frame where I do that, and then go and get ready. And before we go get ready, then we have our next time block, and that part is together. But that's just like my personal prep. So by the time we do come together to have our daily legacy time block, which we'll talk about next, my mind is already clear about what we're doing, what I need to do for the day. And then I also can think about, things for the household. We need to do this or that. And I could think about, things for him. Did you call this person? Did you just things that have to get done? That's like my solitude time, so I can really get aligned and get clear, and whatever type of maybe mental things that I may have been like floating around, like we've been trying to, how you think about things and you try to like figure things out. Usually around that time in the morning, that's when I'm the juiciest. Like mental juiciness is like on its highest form at that point. So I'm just able to flow and to create. That's when I'm most creative. So I think people can have their prep times at different times, but that's just for me.
Yeah, my prep time, it depends on what's going on in life. So, because when I was a 9 to 5, my prep time, because we were still implementing this practice, my prep time was in the morning, and that was because I had a lot of movement in the morning. I mean, I was getting up early, getting dressed, getting in the car, driving to work. So because I respond because I'm thinking more clearly as I'm moving, then my prep time was in the morning. But now it's not like that, because Sway gets up before me, so she has her routine. Me, I'm in bed, with maybe 30 minutes before it's time for us to have our meeting. So for me, my prep time will be one or two times either the night before, because the night before I'm in bed and I'm
That's the
thinking,
planning, but okay.
I'm thinking through tomorrow's events, or after we have our meeting, I am in my particular section of the house and I'm doing my sort of prep time thinking, okay, what's going to get done? When is it going to get done? And so mine will come at that point, but it really just depends. All right. So the second time block is the legacy meeting. Now the legacy meeting is, or should I say the way we do our legacy meeting is there's an agreed upon time each morning that we're going to meet. And this legacy meeting is really us holding each other account. Well, I'll say it this way: informing each other and holding each other accountable to whatever those top priorities are for that day. So when we come together for our legacy meeting, the way we do it is we talk. What does today or the daily priorities? What are they? We identify them.
Mm-hmm.
We share with each other if there's parts where I may need her for something or she may need me for something. So we're informing each other as to the details of those. We're informing each other as to the details of those, so we can hold each other accountable as to the details of those. And so that is our legacy meeting. And so we do this again together. This is every morning, and this really is the start off of our day. And so by the time we disperse and go to our separate quarters and corners, the other person knows what each other's top three is. And that's how we're able to not just hold each other accountable, but even support each other if it calls for that.
Yeah, I would also say with that too, we are very specific and strategic about having only three, like top, not only three, but top three. Like, what does winning look like for us today, individually and then corporately? Like, for example, one of our top threes for today was to do this live. Like, we're like, okay, that's one of our top three. So that leaves us only with two other top priorities for the day based on, everything else, all things being equal. So for us, it helps us to know, okay, this is our metric for the day. And every day the metric can be different. It may look different based off of what we are needing to get accomplished for that day. And it is challenging. It is challenging to put all the things that are in our heads going on, all the things that we want to accomplish. I mean, it may be a good 20, 30 things for real, that we just want to like do. I know for me anyway, but to have to say, okay, what out of all those things, what are the top three? And so being able to communicate that clearly with each other. In order to communicate it, we have to be clear about it. And then there's that accountability that comes in that says, okay, did we do this? And we know at the end of the day, which we'll get to in a little bit, we're going to be able to follow up because we already told each other what we're going to focus on. And so that there's that level of accountability as well there too. And I would say with this legacy meeting, what I normally do during the legacy meeting for my stuff, in my planner, is I give a count. Like, I block out the different areas for the day. Those three, which we're going to talk about next, that's how things get done. And that's the next time block. But the legacy meeting is so important because that's the married entrepreneur sauce right there. That's the piece that we're coming together. We go over our 3 wins. We also go over like household things during that time. Like if it's dealing with bills or budget, financing, anything of that nature, that just making sure that we're on the same page, because we're like, it's a lot of things moving, right? And so making sure that we're on the same page, and then making sure that we're checking in with each other as well too. Like, how are you doing right now? How did you rest? Are you good for today? Like, what do you need? How can I help? Just different things, because it can change, by the day. And then we close out our legacy time we start off with going over that. And then we close out our legacy time with praying together as a part of our daily. And then we actually hug and embrace. So it doesn't feel like just two roommates coming to a meeting like, okay.
Two business partners.
Yeah, business partners. Okay, guys, let's go, right? So we just make sure remember we're husband and wife first, right? And then we go about our business, and I usually go make breakfast or I just go take a shower because I would have worked out, and then breakfast, and then he's already doing his prepping time during that time. So just wanted to kind of give you all some real life behind the scenes examples of what we're talking about. So you can at least like glean whatever you need to. You can ask questions. We're happy to help in that way as well. Okay, and then the third time block that we're going to share with you that we do after the legacy session. Oh, and just so you know, the legacy meeting, it's about 15 minutes, usually 10. If we're like really, really focused, we can do it we've done it before in 10 minutes, many times. But if we're kind of just like taking our time with it, usually about 15 minutes, just so you know. So it doesn't take a lot of time, but it does take discipline to get in and get out. And that's where my prep time comes in. So by the time we get there, we're ready to go for our 3 wins. We're not trying to figure it out in the meeting, like we're ready for it.
That's right. So our third time block is what we call execution. And execution is where we are actually doing the things that we would have already discussed with each other in the legacy meeting. But here's the uniqueness to it. Here's how we do it. It actually is blocked time. So what that means is when we look at those top 3 items, those priorities, there's a block time for that. Now, we block time a little differently. I'll tell you how I block time, and then she'll tell you how she blocks time. And so for me, I block time more so not hour by hour or 30-minute by 30-minute increments. So let me say it this way: I don't block time incrementally. I block time sectionally. So in sections. So whereas you may have a time block for every single aspect of each item, I may just block the item.
I block the item too.
Okay, well, I guess we do it the same.
Look at that, we're learning.
So for me, I've got at least 3 parts of my daily 3. At least 3 parts of my daily 3.
I just block it out as the whole section.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
I think we're saying the same thing.
I think we're saying the same thing.
So for each aspect of my life, because I have 3 different aspects of my life that I do professionally, then I block those things in chunks. So as an example, I'll have a block from 7:15 to 8:15. Then I have a block from say 8:20 or 8:30, because I've always factor in some buffer zone, till 11:30. And then from 11:30, there's this little margin of flex. And then about 12, I have another section of what I'm doing till about 1:30, maybe 2 o'clock. It just depends on
12:30. We usually have lunch at 12:30.
We do. Well, built into that is lunch, yes. And then from say 2:30 or 3 o'clock, that'll be the third aspect of my life. And so I'll have that blocked off. So there's really only 3 blocks in my, if you look at my Google Calendar, there's really only 3 blocks. It's not like this item, this item, this item, this item, this item. Every single layer of each item doesn't have its own time slot. It's just whatever the category is has a time slot.
Yeah, I think we do it pretty similarly. I block mine off based off of the top 3 that are for that day, and then whatever else I can squeeze in there, I'll get it in between those 3. But as long as those 3 are done, then I'm like, bet. Everything else is like cherry on top. So although pretty much every day I try to do more than the 3, but those 3, if I'm honest with it, they're gonna take up usually pretty big chunks of time. So that's execution time block. The fourth time block, the must-have time block for married entrepreneurs, is going to be at the end of this execution time. Normally, what we talk about, we didn't mention earlier in the legacy meetings, we also like to ask each other when we remember that we will say, okay, what time do we want to stop today? Whew, that right there, it puts the fire under us, because we're like, okay, we need to be accountable to this. And so once we shut down after the execution time, then we'll go into the reflection time. And that reflection time is really an opportunity for us to personally reflect and then collectively reflect on the top 3. Did we get those done? What needed to get, what was done well, or what needs to be done better? What could be tweaked, or what took way too much time, or where did I get distracted? Where did I lose all this time? Like being very clear about that day. So as we go into the last time block, we'll know exactly what we need to change or not as we prepare for the next day.
Yeah, and so that's really just a debrief. And so that debrief of, I know for me, is there'll be a sort of ramp down period of about 20, 30 minutes of me just sort of sitting and I may be personally reflecting on the day. So then when we come together and talk, then we can talk from a more specific place.
Yeah.
So now that gets us to our fifth
And
time
final.
block, fifth and final, and that is the planning time. And the planning time really is, you could say, the kickoff to the following day for the prep time. But planning time for me is where I will look through my planner and review those items that were on there. And so there's like three things that I'm looking for. I'm looking for what is it that needs to be cut out. Okay, so this didn't go well, or this doesn't help me in my daily, top three. So that needs to get cut out, or maybe I need to modify and do it differently. Then secondly, I'm looking at what needs to continue. Like, this was really good. This is a good practice. This is a good thing that I did. This was helpful. So then I'll repeat that for tomorrow. And then there is those items that may not have been accomplished or completed. So then I have a carryover to the next day. So then I'll say, okay, I didn't get this completed. So tomorrow, because it still needs to get completed, I'll complete it tomorrow. But all that is being identified and assessed in the planning time.
Yep. And so that's pretty much the bulk of the must-have, the 5 must-have time blocks that we use that really keep it tight for us. I didn't mention this, but I think we should, and we'll do more of this tomorrow when we talk up through the quarterly and what that looks like. The quarterly planning together and reviewing from the previous quarter and preparing for the next quarter. But it's not all the tactical stuff, right? As marriedpreneurs, it is a lot of the emotional piece too. So the how are you feeling type of piece, and what are you thinking? And because sometimes we can be moving so quickly throughout the day, and the days turn into days, and the weeks and the months. And if we don't stop, like, we may be having our own epiphanies in our own minds and our own hearts, and things that we're changing, change of thought, change of opinion, change of how we think that we should do something that we didn't think about before. And if we don't stop to take that time to say to our spouse, you know what, last week I was thinking this, but I don't think that way anymore. I think it should be this way, right? Mm-hmm. And then we update our spouse, and you're like, got it, okay. Versus like all this time going by, 6 months, a year, and then during Christmas break, you sit down and talk, and you're like, whoa, who are you? I didn't even know that's what you were thinking, And so just having that time to come together on a regular basis, and our goal is to do that daily, even if it's for a few moments, to check in emotionally, to make sure that the other is good, and where can we, if any way, serve, help in that area to make sure that we are whole, and that whatever those pieces are, that even if we can't help in that area, if we can get outside help for our spouse in that area. Just having that piece, I think, has really been critical for us, especially with all the moving pieces, even before the pandemic, just through life changes and traumatic situations. You're just making sure that we are still moving forward together and together as one, even though we may look and feel different from the previous season. As we continue to go forward, we continue to grow. And this right here has been, an amazing structure as we continue to build legacy, not just business-wise, but family-wise, right? And really keep checking in with each other to make sure that, each other is doing well emotionally.
Very well said.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, there you have it.
Mm-hmm. That is it for today. So tomorrow we'll come back inside of our Facebook group only. If you're not in there, you're welcome to join us over at Marriage Plus Entrepreneurship, and we'll just get your, as a recap, get your printout of the Marriedpreneur checklist. If you don't have one, we'll make sure we put the link in there for you, but you should be able to grab yours at marriedpreneurlife.com. there. If you don't, you should be able to grab it there. And then, of course, next week we have our free 5-day Love and Launch Challenge as well, which is going to be amazing. So you can go to loveandlaunchsecrets.com to get your seats, virtual seats. Go ahead and share tag all your folks to let them know so they can join as well. It's going to be great. All right, y'all have a good one. Until next time.
Keep living purposefully,
powerfully,
and profitably,
and
insane.
Peace out.